Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. So I was looking at a second entry short here. This looks like we've struggled to get up there. So then we had that drop out the bottom. This to me just doesn't look like it's going to continue high. It's really struggling. So I have done a little bit of trading. I did a bit overnight actually. I'll talk about it in a minute. So channel up there with a break. Officially we're bouncing around here. Yeah, this looks like it's going to come down. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Fantastic. Okay.
Order cancelled.
OBS. Yeah, I keep having trouble with my OBS studio at the moment. Seems to be disconnected and reconnected. Yeah, you see another 3 accounts as well. Let's just have a look here. We've got a channel break new high. Now, I think that's vulnerable, to be honest with you. This market looks like it's struggling to get up for me. Unless there's some sort of a bigger channel. My gut feeling is that's going to come down below there because we've already made a break in a new high, so technically it has played out. See if we get a lower high below here. Let's just get an order ready submitted, just in case. Because there's bound to be some stops there. See if we get a pullback here. I mean, it is 2 attempts to go lower, but I don't know. I want to see this trigger. I don't think it's going to, is it? This has played out technically, so struggling to get up. It's clearly struggling. It tried 3 times there and dropped. We've tried another couple of times. Let me just have a look. Let's just get rid of that a minute. I think it's going to give me the wrong idea. My gut is it's going to come down. That is vulnerable as hell. Big bullish bar there triggered. It's bound to drop below there for me. That's why I was hoping for a lower high. So if you took that thinking this is going long, it's clearly struggling to go up. So is my order still there? Yeah, it is. See if we get a trigger here. So channel break new high. This would kind of be a lower high. I keep getting this disconnect and reconnect. Yeah, that's no good. I'm going to sit this out because there is a bit of support. It does look like it'll work, but I don't want to get in on that bar just in case.
Order cancelled.
Okay, yeah, I actually traded some micros on the NQ sort of late last night. I was just, yeah, see there's 2 legs down, there's a higher low there, but I think this is coming down, not going up. We did trigger, but the bar was naff. Definitely looked like we're coming down. I did put something there, but I was a bit unsure about it. But someone's just, in fact, Dan's just mentioned, got a bigger channel. So leg and a leg, yeah, that's going to get stopped out as well. It's a shame, really. If that bar had been a little bit higher on the wick and a little bit more bearish, I'd have had a go at that. So I took this earlier on a couple of accounts. We had a channel break new high, and it was a failure, also a higher low, and that worked beautifully. So what I'm starting to do as well is look for areas where there are traders trapped, and it's working quite well. I was just trading around with these 3 new accounts I had last night on micros on the NQ, trying to get used to the NQ a bit. So I had an evaluation which I traded a bit when I was streaming, and after the stream I passed that. So that took me up to 9, and I thought I'll get 2 more evaluations, and if I can get one of them to pass, that will take me up to 10, and I passed them both. So I had a good run last night, so I'm up to 11 at the moment now, and I'm happy with that now. I'm going to stick with that now for a month or 2, or we'll see, maybe a month. But I want to try and get some in now instead of just constantly putting out. So Karina, good morning to you. Speedy, how you doing, pal? Tony, how you doing, mate? I see 3 at PAs, yeah, a little bit in both actually. Exponential, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, we had a break and a new high, and we're clearly struggling to get up, and there's a big higher low there which is triggering and coming down. Chris, how you doing, matey? So yeah, that was the one I took on there. Clearly a triple test, but I love the fact we got 2 legs down. There's a bullish bar there. There's a higher low there, and it pushed straight down. So I'm just trying to, it's as well as understand the actual setups. I'm focusing on as well more rather than where I'm going, and more rather who's trapped. But we've already had a break, and we're clearly struggling. We've been up in this area. We're very close to this top. Whether we've touched it or not, I don't know. So channel down, 2 attempts push up. So, but yeah, I was trading some micros. Maybe that's like that. It's not very steep though, is it? You won't want that any more shallow. So, leg and a leg. That's kind of like a triple test. FZen, how you doing, buddy? 2-0 for the day, and I'm out already. Good on you, mate. Nice that, isn't it? It's nice to get trades out of the way early if you can. Then you can just kind of relax and think I've got no pressure then. Yeah, it's getting a little bit choppy here, isn't it? I do wonder whether this is turning into more of a range. Oh, we did fill that gap. Okay, I didn't think we did. So, locked. Let's get rid of it. So the gap was filled. Sorted. Okay, let's just say hello to... Just say hello. Took this short. I am good. Sorry, I'm not focusing on what I'm doing. Okay, so leg and leg, there is a lower high there. It's hard to know what's going on here, so I'm just sitting tight here. Could break above this. I mean, it's hard to say. We had that big drop down and a push in, so it could go higher, but my gut feeling is we've come down. We have had 3 attempts to push up, but there's no real decent bearish bar. I mean, if we break above this or some of these and then drop bearish, then I think, yeah, this thing is quite likely going to come down, but I'm not sure about that. I think this is more rangy now. In which case, a short here wouldn't be too bad, but that's no good. Jan, good morning to you, my friend. That was filled to the wick, but not that. Okay, that's probably why I had it a few ticks lower. So channel down, 1, 2, 3 attempt, more 2 attempts. So there's our one. There's our second one. So let's see what happens here, whether we get any type of rejection here. But channel break, new high. Okay, so it's broken above there. That's interesting. Very tempting, that. But it's whipping around a little bit, so I'm just going to sit tight. I mean, that straight back into here, but look, it's already starting to push. It hasn't triggered, fortunately, so it just doesn't strike me as this is ready to come down yet, so it may have to be a lower high. I mean, it may work. It has pushed up above all this, not as high as this, and it is 2 legs, but I'd like to see a little bit of movement down before I got into something like that. Still trying to push it up, aren't they? So, but I mean, that's clearly definitive. It's clearly struggling. It's very tempting there. I'm just going to sit tight in a minute because it is a little bit, I don't know. I just don't like how it's moving at the moment. See if we get a lower high. Lower high would interest me. I think it probably will come down. But I'd like a lower high. I know sometimes you miss out, missing stuff like that. Clearly 2 legs up. I don't think there's any wider channel. It doesn't really make much sense, to be honest with you.
Order submitted.
A lower high, maybe. So channel break, new high, bearish bar, second bearish bar. News in 3 minutes.
Order cancelled.
Oh, medium. Oh, crikey, I forgot that. That's unusual. What time is it? 45, isn't it? That's a shame. It looks like we're going to get a lower high as well here. It's 45, isn't it? I think has it dropped? It is dropping. Why is it flicking around? Oh, news. Okay. I saved myself a trouble there. Okay, at least that's sorted anyway. So, I think it's likely this is going to come down if it gets below this EMA or if it closes below this EMA. Non-event, yeah, it didn't really matter. I saw a bit of flicker in the line behind the box ad up, but my gut feeling is this is going to come down. It's clearly struggling here. It tried 3 times and it's struggling to get up. So my guess is this is coming down. But as I say, it is just an educated guess. I wouldn't trade it based on that. When I say, so I was watching a video on YouTube last night, and he was saying, don't trade on what you think is going to happen. And I say that a lot, but what I think is going to happen and what I trade are often 2 different things. So just because I think something's likely to happen doesn't mean I'll trade it. I think if you can figure out what's going on, it helps you understand price. So that's why I talk about because obviously this is kind of human behavior really we're watching, isn't it? How do human beings think when we get up to a previous high and stuff like that? So, I know some say a lot of them are run by algorithms, but they're programmed by human beings. So, You know, human beings are creatures of habit, aren't they? So if you get used to knowing that something is likely to turn, and if it starts to, at least then you're ready for a short if it does. So although I do say my gut feelings this, and I think this, it is just my thought process on what I think's likely to happen. Doesn't mean I'm going to trade it. But you know, obviously we need direction to be able to trade the market. We need to know whether it's going up or down, or it's in an area of a little bit of indecision. So there is a failure there, but it's a bit congested. We've got to break new high, try go once, try go twice. There's nothing I can do here. If this finishes bearish, then I'm thinking down, but at the moment there's nothing I can do unless this is 2 attempts to go lower, and now we're working up in a, you know, there's always a possibility that, you know, something like that could happen. I don't know whether it will or not. A second leg up, but it's just too early really to start taking longs. We actually had a gap from this morning as well. And there's kind of 2 legs up there. In fact, that's a measured. In fact, it's just over a measured moon, I'm guessing. So we are trying to get up. Yeah, I was just playing around with some micros, just trying to work out whether it's something that would work. Because I think trading 1 or 2 contracts on the NQ is a little bit unpredictable, I think. If I was going to trade it, I would trade more micros, maybe, I don't know, 5 micros or 3 micros or something. So we've come down, we've gone up once, twice. This is the 3rd time, but now we've had a break of this, a new high, and it is continuing. I think there's a good chance we make a second leg and break these highs. See, that is a triple test, but it's also a leg up with a break, so it could push up. So I won't be taking this. Do I think it'll come down? Yeah. It is a triple test, but we've also had a push up with a break, so I don't want to go short until I give it to her. But I have a sneaking suspicion 3 attempts to push up and a lot of selling there, so my gut feeling is that's going to drop. I think it will come down now. Well, certainly to these lows, but it's such a big bar. In fact, 15 ticks. It's not the biggest I've taken, but it is kind of a triple. I'd say triple tests. I noticed Dan marked a triple test the other day when this one was higher. You took it for good on you, mate. I like it when the triple tests kind of hit the same area. That went quite a bit higher and closed higher. So I noticed Dan took a triple test a few days ago where that 3rd touch went a bit higher. Not as much as that though, and not in the form of a channel with a break. So if we can get a pullback here, then I would have a go at that. But I have a feeling we're not going to. I mean, that is a pretty obvious picture. This is coming down, isn't it? So when it's like this, sometimes it just doesn't even get a break. People just hold on thinking this is coming down. So it was interesting. I was just chatting with a few people last night about that trade, that second entry short, that a few of us got caught out, and some people were saying, yeah, we'd had a break of a channel. I think we had. But so many times I see a break of a channel, a new low, 2 legs up, bearish bar, and it comes down more. So sometimes it will just keep coming down. So I think the setup looked that good that I thought maybe enough shorts may get into it. So I don't know. Sometimes they do, but it's a trade I didn't mind taking at all. It's a trade I didn't mind losing because I thought it looked okay. I know a few people skipped it, and granted, the channel wasn't brilliant, but if I took something from yesterday, it's keep my channels tighter. Sometimes I'll get into these bigger channels a bit too quick. So I try to take something away from a loss. I look at it, figured out why I think went wrong. It's very rare now that I don't know why, or I haven't got an inkling. But for me, it had a break. In fact, where was it? It was around... It was around here. That was it there. I mean, we are making lower highs, so you know what I mean? I don't think it was terrible if you have it from there to there, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Initially, maybe there. But, I mean, if you follow the smaller stuff, that you could certainly say. So we'd had a break and a new low, but sometimes it'll come back and continue down, and in which case, you know, you kind of do that. Until it happens, you kind of don't know. But if you put it like that, it actually doesn't look that bad. We've got a touch, a touch, a touch, and a touch. But yeah, I think sometimes if there's any uncertainty or you think we've had a break, wait for the lower high. I think that's probably the better option. But yeah, I get why it failed. But it is kind of swinging a bit, isn't it? But that was the only trade I took yesterday. Yeah, I think a lot of people got caught out, and I mean Thomas Wade's a seasoned trader, isn't he? He got caught out on it, so a lot did. Dan didn't. I don't think Marco did either. Marco was talking about it last night with a couple of people, but you know, yeah. Sometimes the trouble is sometimes you know, some of these channels, they can be a bit hard to read, and sometimes it's like, is it okay or is it not? Have we had a break? You know, it's not black and white. There's such a lot of grey area. So that trade I took yesterday is a trade I have no problem whatever losing. It's not a trade that I got in because of a lack of patience or lack of discipline. I generally thought it was a good setup. So trades that I lose like that, I try and get a free lesson out of them. You know, I figure out why, and then I try and, you know, I think when you get that type of picture next, a bit of a messy channel, and you may get a setup, that'll pop into your head, and I think you go, you know, we better wait for a lower high, if it's probably safer. And I find the more you do that, the less times you get trapped. But as I say, you know, you let Mac talk, it takes you years to get better and better at it, and it does. I've been only doing this 4 years, so I expect in another year or two I'll be getting trapped a lot less. So this now looks like it's working up in a nice channel. So, I mean, that's steep. This isn't as steep. Now, if we were going to make another leg, I would expect that to be a bit steeper, just going on what I've seen before. But we may just break these highs and then it may do something else. Who knows? But that's actually fitting quite nice. So I would say this is just a break. Maybe a couple of legs, another attempt, pull back, maybe get some interesting buyers down here, maybe. But it's a nice looking channel. It's clearly working up at the moment. You know, we're getting nice bounces in the right places. So not that I want to go long. I want it to break this, go above it, and then maybe come back, because it may just be testing these eyes, and then it may decide to take a dump. So you're long on 27, a punt, 27, you're long here. Well, one of the reasons I wouldn't go long there is because if we're in an uptrend at the moment, which we are, for some odd reason, when I go a bit silly trading evaluations, for some reason I always seem to go short in an uptrend or vice versa, because I think we're ready for a pullback. And I'd say 7 times out of 10 it doesn't work, and sometimes I have to ask myself why. I wouldn't dream of trading, doing a short in an uptrend on a PA, so why do I do it sometimes on an evaluation? It's crackers, isn't it? But I mean, we're getting close to these tops, so it may just decide to push out of this, but then it could come back a bit. We've clearly struggled here to get up, and we're at the top of a possible uptrend. So with the combination of that sort of crossover there, for me, would likely send this down a bit. I suppose it's weighing up the odds, isn't it? What's likely to happen? Although we're going up, how strong is it? We're in this area where we've clearly struggled. So we've pushed up and we've had a bit of a bounce here. You can see that there. We've had a bounce there. We've had a bounce here a couple of times. So it may just be overall kind of range, and my bias is short, just waiting. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go long up here purely and simply as one, we're at the top of a channel, two, we're at the top of a range. So, the odds are it's more likely to come down, but it doesn't necessarily mean it, it definitely will. Every time we get up here, we pull back. We get up here, we pull back. But sometimes we'll get up tight, come back, have another push before we come back. So it could just push up. Man, we're not far from overnight highs here. And I think all-time highs are around about 50 points away. This thing's going to fail. It would do it for me above that bar, and it doesn't look like it's going to. We are at prior months POC in current week's volume cluster. Yeah. The only clusters I know about are the ones you get in your cereal box. There's so many different ways of trading, and there's so many different indicators. So that's what I mean. Sometimes when you think it's going to come back, it continues on up. It just wouldn't be in my DNA to go long here, because every time it comes up here, but then that's what I mean. Sometimes like that, it'll get right to the top, it'll pull back and then push up higher. Reach 26 USD with Apex. When will we reach 25? Yes, you can, bud. Yes, you can. You can, yeah. If you've broken a rule, we had this conversation a week ago, didn't we? If anybody's broken a rule, don't sabotage your account or don't think you're screwed, because you're not. What I would say is, if you think you've broken a rule, get to a level where you can request a payout. Request it. If they deny it, they draw a line under that day, and then you start fresh 8 days. So don't worry about it. Don't think, oh damn, I've broken the rule, and then gets kind of suicidal with your accounts. Whatever's happened, they just draw a line under it after a denial, and then they'll start you off fresh for 8 days. Now, out of those 8 days, you have to have 5 of them at $50 or more. I don't know whether that $50 includes commissions. So as long as you have 5 profitable above $50 a day, it doesn't really matter what happens on the other 3, but they do need to be traded whether you open it. I did it once and I got paid. I opened a micro for 1 tick just to get the day, and I got paid. So I don't think they're bothered what happens on those 3 days, as long as 1, you've got enough money in there to cover it. 2, you've traded 8 days with 5 of them, a minimum of $50, and then you're good. But if you do get denied, and you may occasionally, don't worry about it. I'll just reset your 8 days and you're off again. See what I mean about that? Sometimes it'll just pop out and up. It's gone stronger than I thought. So, yes, you can. Yeah, I did it. So just go onto a micro, open a 1 tick profit, 1 tick stop, and just click buy or sell. It doesn't matter. It's negligible. You'll lose a couple of $2.50. It's neither in there, but it counts as a day. So yeah, if anybody doesn't know what flipping is, it's just opening a quick micro for a tick just to get, just so it counts as a day. So yeah, don't worry about it. Target filled. So yeah, when you get to $2,600 from in a 50k count, you can withdraw $500, which takes your draw down to $2,100. It takes your account balance to $2,100. When you hit $2,600 above that 50 grand, your drawdown stops at 50,100 and it doesn't move. So the only time you'll blow that account now is if you drop down below $50,100. So, if you're a swing trader, that's the time to start swing trading, and you don't need to worry about it affecting any drawdown. Obviously, if you're still in your drawdown can go up and follow you, and then it stays there if you come down. So, where'd you get an ear somewhere, Sam? Didn't you? You went along. Good on you, mate. So, we may have a larger channel there. Kind of looks okay. So, let's get rid of that and that. Touch. Close to it. So, yeah, I'd say what I've noticed as well. Sometimes when you get a spike in channel, now and again we have a breakout the other side as well. Very similar to a push-up sideways and a push-up. So, target fill, good on you, mate. So confirm with an approval. It is usually pretty quick. I've been approved in about 6 hours. Once it took 3 days. That was over Christmas, so I had a payment in it was a couple of days after December, I think. So usually it's 24 hours, but if it's up to you. If you got it at $2,600 and you withdrawn $500 and you want the money or you need the money, just don't trade it for a day or two. But I had another $1,000. In fact, that's actually in my bank now. It's been paid quick, that is. It was about 10:30 at night UK time. I checked my emails at 7 o'clock in the morning. It had been approved. The following day, I'd had a message from Plains saying Apex had sent you $1,000. And yesterday, I had a pop-up from Plains saying it's in your bank. So I think the total process from applying, when was it? I can't remember. It's maybe 3 days from applying, 4 maximum from applying for it and it in your bank, 3 to 4 days. No, your drawdown's locked at 50,100. So if you get to $2,600, effectively you're $2,500 above your drawdown. So it stops at 50,100. So if you take 500, effectively you've got $2,000. Your account shows 52,100. And your drawdown is 50,100, so you're still up $2,000. Whereas going back a few months, if you hit $2,600, you could take $2,000 out, but you only ended up having $500 then. And the trouble is, with only $500, most people, if you're like me, was kind of risky. And most accounts ended up getting blown. So by doing this, they've actually done us a favour. I don't think that's probably why they did it, but it definitely works in our favour, because when you had a payment now, you've still got $2,000, and that's worth protecting. Yeah, you got it, mate. You got it. Yeah, saying it and writing it sometimes 50,000. You tend to want to put a one in a bit too early. But yeah, I mean, I've had two of my accounts. I've had they're showing 40 days worth of trades, and I don't trade every day, so I've had for a few months now, I think. And now I no longer need to worry about the trailing drawdown. No. So if you get to 2,600 and you withdraw 500, and your drawdown will not move above 50,100, so you could let the market go up for 5,000, come down and take you out for break even, and your drawdown don't stop. That's the time, really. If you're a swing trader or you go for bigger moves, it may go 10 points and come back. Well, if that's eaten into your drawdown, you're going to have problems. But that's the time to go for the bigger moves if they're the types of trades you take. And then the only time you'll blow that account is when your balance gets below 50,100. So you can just, if that's how you trade, you can just open things up a little bit without worrying about drawdown. Having said that, if you probably know, but if you're trading some accounts with drawdown and some without, just keep it in mind that any drawdown that comes back on you will affect those other accounts, but you can work that out. So, possible second entry long. I'm sitting tight here. I mean, you could even say it's a fail breakout of a range there, but do I really want to go long this high? I'm not comfortable about it, put it that way. I mean, you could certainly look at it as a fail breakout of a small range here, but just by the nature of where it is, I'm just going to sit tight here. It may work, but it's not for me. I mean, there is a channel there, but no, because I'm staying out of this. If I've got a doubt, I'm sitting tight. I've got 3,000, 2,000. I think I should request to protect myself against money tilt. Does that sound sensible? I always think it's good to get a bit when you get there. Absolutely, because what I think is you relax a bit and it's a sense of achievement and you've made something. So, yeah, I would say. And especially if it's your first few payments out, get the system running and get the ball rolling. I think a few took it. I left it. Yeah, Dan said he wouldn't count it as a second entry. Yeah, so you can take. What can you take? 1,200 out of that. 12. You got to leave 21 in there. So you can take $1,160 out of that if you wanted to. Is that 11? Yeah, 1,160 if you want to. The good thing is, one, you've got some money out of it, and two, you've got a little bit of money to add if you wanted to. Yeah, Marco took it. A few took it. I left it. Dan left it as well. It kind of is a second entry, but I think if you're going to trade that, you've got to trade it as a failed breakout. No, Dan Mayer took it. Okay, you took it for 4 points. Yeah, it may trigger and have another leg down, but okay. I'm all right missing them. Breakout pullback. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, it's certainly in the right place, isn't it? I think maybe a higher lower may have had a go at it, but obviously traders bought that. You can see it pushed up nicely. So that went up for a decent amount. You got 4 points and 1 tick somehow. Yeah, sometimes you get a bit of slippage. If you have multiple accounts, over time, they all tend to end up differently. So if you took it above there, it went up pretty quick. I go for 3 points, so I'd have been in and out of that. I just can't see a lot of people short in here. But obviously, maybe they did. Okay, so if you took it, Dan got a 5-point runner. Bastard. Yeah, okay, yeah, they are. See. I took it as, where was it? He took it as a failed breakout, yeah. For me, it wasn't a second entry long as such. It's more of a failed breakout. But there you go. It's just, I don't know, something didn't feel right. What was the risk on it? So if you got in, say a tick above it, see, it was only a 2.5 point risk as well. So yeah, okay, that's fine. I got no problem with missing stuff. It just dropped pretty quick, and I'm not sure whether we're going to have a leg and a leg down because we're coming up to these highs. So there we go. So it didn't bother me leaving trades. So let's just get a couple of legs drawn in here. So that is going to get us not far. All-time highs are about here somewhere. Yeah, it's all right to leave trades sometimes. They're not for everyone sometimes. Thing is, it just seems like everyone bar me took it. Everyone took it. Yeah. If I was going to trade that one, you have to trade it as a failed breakout. My concern was if you come close to these tops, we have a leg down, trigger, and another leg down. That's the only reason I left it. But that's fine. So that to me is risky. I think we'll have a leg and a leg down and come and test this line again. We're working nice on that line. We may get it twice. So leg, sideways leg. And the inside news on the 90% off. The only 90% off I know is available is the is for the wealth charts. We have an 80% here, but not a 90, bud. So I don't know why they did want. Well, they're obviously encouraging people to move over. I can't see how it's going to work. That's like saying to someone who's happy at home, "Come on, let's get you moved." No thanks, I'm happy. So I don't know. So channel break, new high. Now I'd like it to bounce off this midline because we've kind of worked up it there and then we've pushed through it and then it's been kind of resistance. Then we've pushed up, we've bounced once, bounced twice. So second entry long down here, that may interest me. We've definitely filled that gap, so that's clear. We've not been up here now for where's this 35? That is all time. Sorry, that is as high as we've been for a while. I think it's around about 63, isn't it? So I suppose we're, well, let's see. Right, so that to me is likely to get stopped out. We'll see. So there's a lower high there. Ideally, you'd want that to trigger, wouldn't you? The trouble is, it's starting to go sideways now, I think. That looks weird. Yeah, I must start having a go at those when we get that fail breakout. I left one the other day. Usually they move quick. The one, the triple test the other day had 3 bars of about 10 points, so I've got to get in on them. I suppose the more you miss these and then you pay more attention to them, you start taking them, and that kind of adds extra strings to your bow. Yeah, see, I'm a bit hesitant here on this chart. Top. We've only got so far here, so my concern is we have 2 legs back. Or that, I think I had at the, that was the top of the, that was the top of the gap, I think, wasn't it? I can't remember now. Or bottom of the gap. No, top of the gap. So I won't be surprised if this thing comes down below this and around here. So I think we needed a half decent pullback, really. Stacking up, so there's nothing I can do here. Yeah, Thomas Wade never took it, actually. Never took the trade. He said would have liked to see a push phase here to trust it. Don't think he did. Retro channel, what's the EMA? I would try to catch it. Is that what he means? Okay, leg down, leg down. Okay, so let's see if it gets below there. We had to have another leg down, didn't we? Let's see if it does or it doesn't. Yeah, it's going to. So let's see if that holds. Sometimes they do. So I think that stop will hold. Often these good positional ones, unless the move's made and it hasn't broken it as yet. I'm going to get rid of that. This to me is more sideways. So leg and a leg. Let's just keep it in mind because there is something larger here. I took a lower high short risk but got 3 points. You went there, did you? Yeah, to be fair, I looked at that, and because we're kind of moving up, I don't generally go for stuff like that. But my gut feeling, we were going to have a push down below there. That's kind of sitting in between here and the top. So my gut feeling is that was, I did mention actually, it needs to come down, and it did. And not take that out, which tells me this bit is going more sideways. I still like it to come down a bit lower. There's just, unfortunately, there's no entry there. We come down, we drop out the bottom, and then we go straight up, which tells me there's it's the evidence I've submitted. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Yeah, it's worth getting paid, absolutely. It's nice to get some money. You know, it gets you confidence that you're going to get paid, and you know, if you work for it, you put time in, it's nice to get some recognition for it. I was hoping we would get a bullish bar down here. As it's going sideways, often good positional ones, they just don't seem to get stopped out. So I was hoping we get a leg down, a bullish bar, and then I'd have had a go at that. Takes absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's good to get paid. Just, you know, because otherwise sometimes it just feels like you're constantly putting in, and it just, you know, I like to now, my policy now is don't put any more in until you get paid. So yeah, you feel like you're actually getting somewhere then, don't you? Yeah, see, Marco just said feels like fail breakout in a small range, snap back. Yeah, that's why I drew that. It's kind of, I missed that one. Let's not miss this one. And there was just no entry there, unfortunately, but it did work like a failed breakout. It came down, reversed a little bit, crossed over, and you don't often see a completely full bar, full from the bottom right to the top. You don't often see them, to be fair. There's always a wick somewhere. You'd be hard pushed to find one without a wick, a complete full bar. There's always usually a wick. But yeah, it came down, crossed over, straight up and closed. So, 2 legs up. It's a little bit rangy, but it's still playing like a channel. Excuse me a sec. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Give me a sec. Okay, I'll tell you what, it's definitely worth paying attention to these failed breakouts because they don't half push, and it's definitely worth, you know, getting some extra profits there if you can. I mean, that bar, so what did it go up for? So it's definitely worth at least getting up to the tops here. I mean, you'd have got 4 points comfortably there. Not only that, well, I mean, depending on what you had, there's 5 points available there. It never came back. And that one the other day, I know Dan took it, I left it. Where was it? Triple test, was that it? And then the thing just tanked. 1, 2, 3. I think that was it, and it just went. So these triple tests, failed breakouts, whatever you want to call them, when they do work, they just rocket. and it's always worth trying to get a bit. I'm going to try and get a little bit of extra profits on them, even a couple of points extra. But I think, you know, if the conditions are right, it's definitely worth trying to get something more out of it. Yeah, let us know how you get on, Tony. But if for some reason you have taken a risk, or you've sort of shot outside the box or something, don't stress about it. It's just an extra 8 days. But hopefully, fingers crossed. Sometimes they will just pass you. If I did, then at least. Absolutely. So if you think you have, overstepped the mark, don't worry about it. Just apply for a payment, let it fail, and then they reset you. I did it was it about November, end of November? Was it sometime in November, I think? I applied for 2 lots of $900, I think, and they they denied it. And then I think it was after Christmas, I applied for 3 lots 2,000, and the 1 lot of 2,000 was the one that I took the risk on, or did something on, and it cleared. So, and also I have a feeling is if you do get regular payments cleared, they pay less attention to it. I've heard someone say that as well. I've had 4 payments in a row, and I blew up and took a massive risk this time, but I still got paid. So, you know, I think if they've got to sift through everything, you know, every trade or every, then obviously it takes manpower. Yeah, shame about that actually. It is kind of 2 legs down, leg and a leg. It is a failed breakout, and also it's a breakout of this channel. And it's sat in a nice place. And usually I find if it's a good enough trade, you can tell because, you know, other buyers come in, and that's what you want out of a trade, really. Plenty of other people seeing the same thing. But I try and spot traps as well. I do. Channel with a break. Big bullish bar there. There's going to be buyers in there. But look what happens. It triggers above, comes down, stops them out. Does the same again. Triggers by 1 tick, comes down, stops stuff out. So when you start getting that you're noticing setups because you want to you're noticing traps because you want to stay out of them yourself, it is another option to trade, isn't it? If you can trade that way. You know, I notice a lot of setups that Dan takes where we have a break. Often we're trapping a bar in the other direction. I think that obviously adds to the momentum. So we're coming up to the top of this now. In fact, we're into it. I can adjust that marginally if I want to. So channel break, new high, a little bit of side there, leg and a leg. So how much further is this going to go? As I say, I mentioned earlier, a lot of times when we have a spike in channel, we'll push into it and then push out of it. So I can adjust that a little. Yeah, as long as it doesn't go any higher, I'm all right with that. So, leg and a leg. We get a bearish bar there. I think there's a good chance we just get down to the EMA there. Yeah, as long as it doesn't go any higher there, I'm happy to leave that where it is. Fitting okay. Touch, 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 touch. It's all right for me, that. And the midline is fitting nice, so I'm all right with that. Very close, this measured move. Sometimes as we push into it, we will end up pushing out of it. I have a feeling this is just going to go up. Because you can guarantee there'll be traders thinking, oh, let's go short here. We're right at the top. It's struggling to get up, and often it just goes. So this is definitely the area. Oh, drop. So maybe that is an overshoot. I was willing to give that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not convinced it is actually. If I look on my other chart, that fits perfect. Perfect touch, perfect touch, perfect touch. Close enough. Touching perfectly there and there. So I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence whether that is an overshoot or not. You start at the low of the wick where uptrend begins. You have a steeper channel. You're about there. Yeah, that's what I've just done on my other chart, right of the wick, and it fits nice on this chart. So yeah, it's not enough of a push for me. Oh, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks okay. I'll tell you what, I was just looking at the time there. I haven't got my time thing on. It's still early, isn't it? I thought we may be approaching lunchtime. It's that damn slow. It's hardly moving. We're just getting so close to... I won't be surprised if it does push out the top. We're getting very close to this measured move. Okay, leg and a leg. I just don't want to go long here after possible overshoot. Or certainly coming off the highs. I mean, it may work, who knows, but I don't really want to go long there right towards that top. Just doesn't feel natural. Now, I suppose you could see it as a little possible breakout. Let's get an order ready and see how it... There's just
Order
not much
submitted.
room to the tops here, so just going to hold an order ready just to see what happens here.
Order cancelled.
No, there's a little micro channel there. There wasn't really there. It was just a bar down, a little bar sideways over some. I'm in no interest of going long here. So channel break, matching low. We kind of go a little bit sideways there. We have two legs out, so I wouldn't be surprised if we use this as a bit of support. I'm just sitting tight here. I don't know whether you would call it a fell breakout. I wouldn't really. I mean, it is kind of like that, but there's a channel down really, and now it's done that. You definitely don't want to get it long. There's going to be a bit of support here, but that's a leg down with a break. We may get another leg. We could come down to this level down here. Oh, who knows? There's nothing you can do here, really, in my opinion. I mean, we could come. Well, we could break this. I don't know why. I mean, even we could this, we could that. I'm just waffling on. I think I should keep your mouth shut for a minute. So, channel break. New low. Now, let's see if it holds on this area. I don't like that little wick. It's still underneath. If I was going to go long there, it would have to be a higher low. I think that's definitely vulnerable. But there's always a possibility we could drop below this. So it's just a bit, I don't know, it's a little bit congested here. So it's just not very clear for me. I mean, you could say fell break out of here, but it's just not getting me excited enough. I mean, what I did want to see was it bounce on support, and it has. So that's the one thing going for it. I'm just not sure about this. It's struggling to get out. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down. Yeah, if that was a failed breakout, it would have moved a lot quicker, I think, that one. And look at that one. And you may say it is going up now, but it's just, no, I'm just not interested in it. So it is moving up. It's just too risky, isn't it? Yeah, someone said they need a higher low. A higher low is definitely the better option. It's just whenever it struggles like that slow, I find the slower the market moves in one direction, the quicker it drops in the other. There's always a possibility we have a leg with a break and a leg. You just never know, do you? I like the fact that it's bounced off support. That's what I was looking for. We added a channel with a break and a new low. Well, it worked. It is moving up steeper than I thought it was, but so we got this little thing here. Any PAs did you add? Yeah, three yesterday. I had one evaluation on the stream, which I think was up about 1,400. When I finished, and I passed that one, which took me up to 9. So I wanted to get to 10, so I took 2 more and passed them both, fortunately. So I'm up to it. I just wanted to get to 10. It's a nice number that you can earn a nice bit of money from 10, I think. And it's not too much pressure. 2, I think, was just 2 just stressed me out. 20 just stressed me out. So 10's a good number, I think, anyway. And some of them are up to a nice amount where I can take money, so less pressure. I know Wilson sometimes has taken on 20 in a row. Trouble is, you have one bad trade on one, you've got 20, but at least if you've got other accounts with some in, you know, the sting's kind of gone. I did that before, bud, and it just seemed to take me forever. So I think I got a bit impatient, but I've got a policy now. Next time I take a payment, I'm going to spend a little bit of it, maybe 20%, just to kind of add. I don't mind adding more as some grow, you know what I mean? What I don't want is a lot at 0. And I kind of like, you know, I've got, let's have a look. I've got a couple of my accounts at just over 2 grand. I've got some of them at just under 1,300. I've got one of them over 3,000. So they're looking okay at the moment. The plan is for me just to get a regular monthly payment. I'm not too fussed how much it is. I just want to sort of aim for some consistency. Trouble is, I mean, if there's not a trade, there's nothing you can do. So I don't really want a monetary target as such. All I would like to do is just to get something consistent. And I've got $7,000. I mean, if you get $7,000 every month, you're not far off $100,000. So, you know, I tried to rush, I think, too much, and that money I got there is just on 5 or 6 accounts. So, you know, the potential's there. Trouble is, I rarely take trades. 3 a week, if I was trading them, you know, a bit at a time, it would take me so much longer. So I kind of like the idea, get somewhere where you've got some that you can take monthly and then sort of grow some. How many have you got, buddy? You got 20 at the moment, or you're Are you somewhere else? This market's slowed down, isn't it? I'm just going to get rid of that a minute, put something larger in. Has anybody heard anything from Wilson lately? I've heard nothing from him. I hope he's all right. So sideways, which is kind of characteristics of a channel, isn't it? What if we got something like that? It's kind of one within, isn't it? Let's have a look. So, in which case, didn't even do anything. What's up, bud? I wonder if there is a channel there like that. I need some advice. I can withdraw from my pay account. Should I do it or keep building and get the full 2,000? If you're going to build it up another $900 and take it all, why not take some now? It's a personal thing, mate. I get some people want to build them up. I kind of like to want to get something because it's a good sense of achievement. And I think it's good for your morale, I think, isn't it? But it's up to you, bud. It's up to you. Sorry about the pinging. We've got a party coming up next week. Family party, and there's just phone's pinging every 5 minutes. Depends. Have you had payments? Is it a new payment? Have you had many before? It's nice to get some money, I think. I'm going to take it. Yeah, I would, mate. It's nice to get some money. Yeah, there you go. Withdraw. Just get something. I would. If you're going to get up another $900 and take two anyway, you're still going to end up at the same balance as if you take the 1,100. So yeah, I'd take the money, mate. Take the money and run. Buy yourself a nice bottle of scotch with it. Withdraw 1,000 mark. Yeah, I think that's a nice mark. If you can, and there's no reason really. It's not that difficult to kind of got 21k in January. Good for you, mate. Good on you. I'm pleased to hear that, mate. Are you still getting some good success out of Guardian Angel Trader? It's helping me out, mate. It definitely forces you on the straight and narrow. How do you feel about large channels starting the daily low? What about down here? And about like something like that, or sorry about my phone there. Kind of, yeah, it's hard to say, mate, really. I would say no because it doesn't get near that midline. So I would say no. I'll tell you what I'm finding. Sometimes if I go too big too quick, I miss out on smaller stuff. I lost a trade yesterday by having, I think, a bigger channel rather than, that one, rather than, what was it? Having a bit tighter. It was there, wasn't it? Was it there? No. I can't remember what it was now. It was further back, wasn't it? I like the channel you just had, the medium one. Yeah. I forget where it was now. I'll get it in a second. It was here. Yeah. That second entry short, a load of us. So, yeah, you can absolutely do that, can't you? And say, yeah, it kind of fits. And it fits on the midline, so it's an odd one, that, isn't it? But I think initially I would have drawn it like that and then probably extended it to like that. But then when you get that dropout, you could say there's a bit of an overshoot. So I think be a bit wary about the next one. So if I'd have kept it a bit tighter, I think I may have left that for the lower high, and I think what I try and do is get something positive out of it. And if I'm going to get something out, it's that is if I think we may have had a break, wait for the lower high. I don't think you're going to get a lower high if it isn't going to continue down. So yeah, I think sometimes tighter is better. You see me a lot of the time trying to make things fit, but the trouble is if you, let's say for instance you have a channel like that, okay, the trouble is we wait for it to hit the bottom of a channel before we take a long in an uptrend, but it may spend the next 3 hours not coming near that. So you know, we can see we're going up, but for me, I think at the moment this actually fits quite nice, and we often get that steep push up followed by something a little bit less dramatic. Yeah, same on countless times a year. My mind's programmed. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It forces you to think, well, there's no point worrying about it. I can't trade now, and it does get you out of that habit. So yeah, I swear by it, mate. I do. Yeah, definitely. As soon as I get an account now, I haven't overnight because I couldn't unlock it, but I have an hour before I can. It's about 5 minutes at midnight, or 10 minutes, 15 minutes at midnight that I can change things for the following day, and then I just lock everything up the same. Then that way, I take one loss a day. The most I'm going to lose is one loss, and then by tomorrow, any little bit of frustration that may be there is gone. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic bit of software. It forces you to get out of that bad habit. So I think it's a great bit of software. I do. Just glad we found it, mate. Saves a lot of money. I hate to think how many more accounts I would have blown if I wouldn't have had it. At least you get the eval fee pay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're going to, I would take some money. I think what I'm going to do is whatever I get is spend. So if I can get say 5,000 a month, and I can spend 20% of it, 1,000 on evals or whatever. I don't think that's that bad. Which is what I did. I got 1,000, added 3 to it. That way you're paying for more out of your profits rather than out your own pocket type of a scenario. This thing looks like it's going to continue up. We have got that measured leg up here. So anybody else got that? I actually like that. Has anybody on Dan's forum got it? No, they haven't, I don't think. Oh, hello. There. Yeah, that's pushing up to that measured move, isn't it? I don't think that's going to stop. Let's just see if anybody else has got this up. You're here long. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad option, to be honest with you. We're close. We're coming off the EMA, and we're close to that measured leg. So yeah, I've found I've been caught out a few times by having bigger channels. I've missed out on certain things. Trouble is, if you've got a channel here, you're waiting for it really. In an ideal scenario, the EMA and the bottom of the channel kind of together where they meet. It's kind of like the perfect storm, isn't it? But if you've got a bigger channel, something like that, you're going to be waiting for it to come down here before you can get in. So although it's good to sort of have an overall picture, knowing where if price does come down, it may bounce. I think to sort of listen to it and trust it and think that's the only place I can go long is probably, it's going to get you to miss out on some trades. I know because I missed some myself. That's what I mean. Yeah. FSN, how you doing, mate? Excellent mantra, lads. Profits, not pockets. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I've got to say, I'm enjoying my trading now more than I ever. There was a time where I had a proper love-hate relationship. Used to fry my brain. So yeah, I don't think that's a terrible place. It is into that midline. I'm a bit of a coward anyway, so I want them back here to be sure. You just never know. It is bouncing along that midline. No, don't come down. Go up. It is hitting that midline a bit, isn't it? We're getting very close to this measured leg. I do worry about that now. I'm hoping you got some profits there, bud. See, I have a feeling we may get a break here. We're getting close to this and struggling. Mind you, sometimes I think that and it just tears off. It's got 4 ticks. Yeah, it's one of those things. Trouble is, if you don't do nothing, if you get out, it rockets up. If you stay in, it takes you out. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't sometimes. But 4 ticks is 4 ticks. It's a point, isn't it? Never be too much of a snob. You won't accept a point. Absolutely, point to point, isn't it? 2 contracts is $100 per account. Well, Max made a complete business model based on taking a point, isn't he? Yeah, that to me is just floating in the middle. So I wouldn't be shocked if we have a couple of legs back here. I thought we may have a break, but it is kind of riding that middle line. Trouble is, if you're holding profits to get here, you know, certainly if it was me, if I was running this, I'd be thinking, okay, there's the measured move, let's get out a bit before. So you don't know whether profit taking may create a little bit of a, you know, pullback. So another bullish bar there that's triggered. Is it getting a bit flat there now, is it? Just finding a bit of support there, or resistance, whatever you call it. In which case, I think it'll pull back a little bit if it's going to encourage buyers into there, certainly below there. Whether that holds or not, I don't know, but there it is. Some support along there. So, yeah, I think that's vulnerable. It's definitely finding some resistance there, so I suppose naturally pulls back and maybe pick up some buyers here. Yeah, so Marco's got both of those. He's got the channel I've got and the bigger. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Trouble is, if you're going to trade just that bigger chart, you kind of want it to come down here, don't you? So it's definitely good to be aware of where it might bounce. But really, for a reference point of view, all you want to know is it going to break out the top and have an overshoot, or is it going to come down to the bottom? Where kind of may it bounce? So apart from that, it's useful to know these areas, isn't it? But I see, so many times you see it going like this, and then market wants to go up, but it's gone up quite steep, so it tends to sort of kind of feather out a little bit. Okay, so we're not far off that measured leg now. Point and a half, less than that. Still blows my mind how accurate these things are. Tick away. One more tick. Bang. Right on the nail. Just shows you people do use these measured moves because usually it reacts, well, almost always when it hits it reacts. I mean, it could go higher, but a lot of the time, if it doesn't initially push up or pull back, a lot of the times we get another bar and another bar, and then it may break. But you can clearly see how it reacts to them. So it just goes to show these things just aren't random, are they? So we're hitting it again. Are we going to get above it? There we go. Now, is it going to close above it? I don't think it will. Yeah, sometimes it stacks a bit, doesn't it, while it makes its mind up. So we did manage to tick through it. Now we're going to stack up a little bit. You can clearly see it reacting, can't you? Really, how clever how it all works, really, how all these things sort of knits in together. And it clearly reacts to that area. One there, couldn't close above it, couldn't close up, well, as of yet. So if it does stay there, it may continue up, but we are just bruising just above this midline. But what I've found sometimes, if it does stack a little bit, eventually it'll push up a bit more. But if you like the bigger channel as well, we're actually bouncing off the top of it as well. So that might be another reason why it may come down. So that's the wider channel there, with the channel I got kind of in between. But as I said earlier, a lot of times when we do get this spike in the channel, we get a spike out the other side of it as well. So finish off the cards. Okay, there's not going to be a trade here for a while anyway, for a few minutes. So I'm just going to take a quick 3 to 5 minute break, make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back. Okay, I skipped the tea. I got a single malt instead. That's it's Friday. Okay, so it's not done nothing. Let's see what happens now. So, it is getting to that area. It's just peaking above that midline, and it did it again there and again there and touched that thing. Couldn't close above it, but it hit it 3 times. I had a feeling it may go sideways. If it went sideways anymore, my feeling is it would push out. But my 2p worth is on delays. There is a trend line which may or not hit today. Let me read that again. My 2 pence worth. On dailies, there is a trend line which may or may not hit today. Not sure what you mean there, bud. Oh, you mean on the daily candle? Is that what you mean? On dailies, you must mean dailies, aren't you? I think. Yeah. So, is that bouncing off that line there, and is that going to push up? I wouldn't take that. It's just a first entry, really. I don't think you can consider that a triple test. That's one bounce. That's one bounce. I'm not sure, Sam, whether you're talking about the daily there, are you? Have I read that right? Might depends whether it's on the daily. There is a trend line that may or may not hit today. I'm not sure whether you're talking about this, but I mean, look. Well, while we got it on the, while we got it here, we're not far from all-time highs, which is there. We're not far off there, so yeah, I'm not sure what you mean there, bud. But that's the daily. Is there any way you can find out where that is? I think it's 180. Yeah, it is 180. Tell a lie. Might be a tiny tad more. Yeah, it's just over 180, I think. All-time highs anyway. We're not far away. We're up for what? A little spring top bar. Not for me. You know about here? Yeah, I'm not interested in that either. It may work. Sometimes they just do. If it's going to work, it'll probably be because we've had a bounce and a bounce. But it's vulnerable here. We've hit this measured leg, so I generally would avoid that. And it looks like it may get stopped out. If you took that now, you wouldn't be holding much out, would you? Sometimes it'll all, but the only thing going for that is there's a bit of support there, which turns into resistance. But after we've hit that measured move so well and we couldn't get above it, I'd expect, well, maybe a correction. I think this is the time to maybe get that bigger channel in and find out where it may bounce. Was that it or not? No, it wasn't, was it? Hold fire. Okay, it was... Is that Dan's chart, was it? That's Marco's chart. Dan's is from... Yeah, top trend line. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to know where things are going to go. I'd like a bit of a correction here. It's all right. I'm just trying to find... there's Dan, isn't it? So I think his is gone from there. I would have... No, it's not, is it? Or is it? It might be. In which case, that would be there. So we had those big bars and those. Yeah, okay. So he's got his there. So I'm just going to put it there just in case we do have a move down. It's nice to know where it may bounce. Yeah. I got you, mate. Isn't it easy if I just do the channel rather than mess around? Forgotten where it was again. It's here. Yeah, let's just kill that colour so it's an area of interest rather than set in stone. So, channel, I like that. Break. Now, after such quite a big channel, I'd want... Sometimes you see this and you think, there we go, 2 legs down, let's go long. And what I've found is it's not 2 legs, it's 1. And then we end up having something like that. And then like that, and you go long here, triggers here, works down here, bounces here, and then continues on up. So that's what I would be looking for if I was interested in getting into a long trade here, because a lot of the times people will go, oh, leg. I see it a lot. They'll go, oh, we had 2 legs down, let's go long here, and it triggers you, traps a bunch of trades, and then drops for that second leg. So after a break, you know, my thoughts are, and I say it all the time, so I'm Just ignore me if I'm waffling. If we have up quite a substantial channel up, the bigger the channel, the bigger the move before it'll break and make a new high. And we had a new word for it, didn't we? It tends to take the scenic route. So I've noticed that the last couple of weeks we've had a small leg and a leg, and people go, oh, let's go long here, 2 legs, break. And it turns out by the time the move's made, it's just one channel with a break and another channel, and it ends up trapping traders. So I'm not saying it's going to do that, but that's kind of what... Another thing that I think about as well, a lot of the times I've got trapped or I've got into a trade too early, that if I just sit there and be patient a little bit longer, often there's a good trade that's following it. So I just try and think now, am I getting in a bit too premature here? So I like that. We touch. It visually looks nice. It's fitting nice as well. So this is clearly a break. And 2 legs down may, depending on how long they take, leg and a leg, may get us, in touch with this area down here. It's hard to say, but so that's my thought process, what I'd like to see. You can sort of work out what the market's doing a lot of the time, so it's okay to kind of, I know I talk about I think this, that, but it does help me understand what other traders are thinking, because if the market does what I think, it just means I'm in tune with how the market works and the people who trade it. Excuse me. Cheers, everyone. Anyway, I've called myself a 10-year-old Lecheg. I thought I'd have one of those instead of tea. As it's Friday, I saw Patrick Whelan drinking a beer the other day while he was trading, so I'm only having one. While I'm trading, and then I may have a few later. Okay, stacking up here. Okay, channel break, new low. What's going on here? So I would still consider that a leg down if we were going to push higher. And the little spring top. Is that what you call them? Spring tops? Let's Let's see if this interests traders to go long. I'd like to see this, a little push up and then back. Let's see, I'm going to extend that a little bit. To there. Are you now a full-time trader? Yeah, I've been kind of doing it full-time now for about 6 or 7 months, something like that. Getting by, mate, is what I say as a full-time trader. Let's call it a struggling trader getting by. You still work on weekends? You know, strangely enough, mate, I actually kind of miss work to a degree. That's how I did it for quite a while. Work weekends, and what I found sometimes is it takes the pressure off as well if you give up. Well, I mean, you've heard this story before, but I gave up my job after trading for a month. I thought this was easy. I just took a few trades on a sim, and I did about, I don't know, I traded over 3 nights, I think, and I ended up winning more than I thought. I'd have made £1,200 or $1,200 this week if I'd have been a trader. So I went to work on a Friday. Well, I drove about 20 miles to work. I stopped at a garage for a coffee, and I decided I was going to phone my boss and tell him that was it. I'd had enough. And I came home, put £5,000 of my own money into account and lost it all in about 3 weeks. So I'd say, yeah, it definitely takes the pressure away, put it that way. So yeah, I would see. I got two things going for me. One, I made $22,000, which is what, about £17,000 last year. I get some money from affiliates, so I got you guys to thank for that, and that, as I would say, has covered my trading costs, if I'm honest. So yeah, so let's say I earned £20,000 last year, which is not huge, but my wife earns okay. So we've managed it okay, to be honest with you. Now, the beauty about being a trader is you've got no overheads. You know, you don't use petrol. You're not paying to go to work or this, that, and the other. So the last sort of, I think, summer, I really sort of stopped going to work, and I had a chat with my wife, and she said, "Well, see how you get on." So the beauty is, because I've got a HGV license, there's always work in the UK for HGV drivers, and the money's pretty decent. So, you know, if things got a bit short, I could always just, I could phone up, today and be working tomorrow. So, I'm kind of lucky like that. Gets me. Yeah, I kind of miss it in a strange way, but I'm pretty sure, again, when the alarm goes at 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't think I would. Someone's just posted that. I'm assuming that's Mac. Not supposed to be Mac. I love the t-shirt. He's in is it the Antarctic, I think, isn't it? Like you said, it looks like Bill Clinton. That's nice. I like that. Pills and electric are over these. Yeah, I in a way, you see, once if you had your own pot of money, it would be kind of, I have heard people describe trading as kind of like the perfect business. You never got to worry about losing your job. You've never got to worry about being laid off or sacked. If you're ill, it doesn't really matter. You can have the time off. You can have whatever time you want. You can live wherever you want. You can work whatever hours you want. No one says a word. There's no overheads, really. I mean, you've got a computer and all that, but, reference the internet. Everyone's got internet anyway. Obviously as prop traders, we're investing money and learning and that, but, based on the theory that you're trading with a pot of money, there's just no overheads. So, it's interesting. It's kind of really like the perfect business. So, This to me is a channel. Let's see where this goes. Now, as we're generally going up, I wouldn't consider shorting it, I don't think. Unless we had maybe a nice triple test and we could have a second leg down, then I may consider it. That ATR is pretty good, isn't it, today? So if there is a larger channel, leg down with a break leg down would get us kind of in the right ballpark, wouldn't it? But yeah, I do kind of miss working a little bit. It's just getting out of the house. You know, you think, oh, I'd love to stay home and work. But when you are here all day, I mean, I get out of the house a little bit in the day. Occasionally I go to the gym, not as much as I would, but usually I'll nip to the shops in a day, get something for dinner because I do the dinner because I'm only here sort of working a few hours a day. Run the Hoover around, loads it empty the dishwasher, chuck a few bit of washing in. Apart from that, I'm kind of sort of at home. But I do kind of a bit of studying trading as well. I'm always looking at charts or looking at people's YouTube channels, so I'm still kind of attached to it all in that sense. But in the winter, it's nice when my wife's out there defrosting a car. I know I should do it for a bit, and I'm still in bed. Yeah, it's definitely a nicer way. Once it starts to get easier trading, you're not losing tons of money. It starts to get quite enjoyable then. So I'd like to see 2 legs up and then another leg down, but market may have other ideas. There is a bit of support there, so channel break, new low. Now I know Dan's still got this channel, so there are options to get into a trade down here somewhere. So channel up, maybe a break there, it's hard to say, but ultimately if there is a bigger channel down there, a couple of legs down, this would be the area you'd be looking to get in. I wouldn't get in here too early for me. So I was hoping we'd get above here and maybe retest this area and clearly see there's a little bit of resistance there. I thought we'd have a couple of legs up, bounce here, hit this level and then come down for another measure, for a measured move and pick up this line somewhere, hopefully. But technically we've had a break and a new low. There is some support there. Is it going to work up there? I wouldn't take a trade here. It would have to be down here and moving in this direction really. So break 1, 2 pushes to a new low. That's a bit lower, isn't it? So there's a few different channels around. Some have got this as an actual break of a channel. That doesn't make sense to me, that one. Let's have a look. So Thomas Wade, I'll show you a couple of what's it's here. So Thomas Wade, he's looking at this, which is slightly larger, but we're coming down to this level here. And Dan is Pats. I love that. Where's Dan's chart there? There he is. Where's the last chart? Oh, there's Dan's chart. Yeah, so he's got that. Oh, sorry, that's Marco's, my mistake. But I think Dan's got the same. Yeah, he's got. So the tops are the tops, and he's for here. So he's got them in the same place. So there we go. So that's what I was hoping for. I wanted a bit more of a bounce, but I wanted 2 pushes down. So channel break, 1, 2 pushes down to a new low, and get down here somewhere. I mean, it may not go that low, but. I wanted it to break these areas here. So we can get rid of them now. They're just in the way a bit. So yeah, I'm not sure when Mac's due back actually. So there is support, we know that, but I think a bar like that is probably likely going to trigger anyway, even if it was going to trap. But once it's below there, maybe it may drop down. We want it down here, really. Okay, so that's done. So it needed to clear that out in these 2 levels here. So once it's got rid of that, which it has now, I think, not quite there, I think. Just below that level. And then hopefully we pick up this line somewhere. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. Level 3 test form maybe. Yeah, trouble is it's hard to know where things are going to go here. My gut feeling is it's going to come below there. As price comes down and back to here, I find it picks off weak positional bits of liquidity. So push up. There's a few bounces there, so there may be a few stops there. So my gut feeling is areas like that usually get taken out. Now, it may be minimal, but I wouldn't take that long. For one, it's a doji anyway, but often when we get that first one ends up getting crucified anyway. So I would like to get down here, somewhere in this area, here ideally. And then maybe if it starts to move again, catch up. We're not far off all-time highs up here, so we're not a million miles away. What are we? 32 points, so not that much. So looking at the daily, this thing could definitely push up some more if it loads. Loading. Come on. Load. So the thing is, you could stretch that down there a little bit, and that will enable you to get closer to there. I don't think that's bad. It's not terrible. I wouldn't go long here, but I'd catch it on the way up if it does. But daily's not loading for some reason. You're already up 700. Good on you, mate. That's the time to shut down and go and have a drink, especially on a Friday. It's always nice, I think, to end green on a Friday. It just makes that weekend so much more relaxing. Right, I wouldn't take that. That's a bit vulnerable, I think. Depending on how you got this, it may be a bit lower. I think that might have been probably the better option. It might keep you out of something. Often that first one off there does get, yeah, definitely. Pour yourself. I got a glass of 10-year-old Lachegi in front of me. It's nice on a Friday, isn't it? And it's always nice to end green on a Friday, or even at 0. I've got no problem with ending 0 on a Friday. I haven't. Much better than ending red. So it's got to get below here for me. Ideally, this line just to drop below it. It's just going to clear out any liquidity that may be there. couple more ticks. Perfect. Okay, so I'm looking for a bounce here and then try and catch it on the way up. That's if it does continue on up. No guarantees. Did you get any payouts from Apex or other prefers? Yes, mate. Yeah, I got up in the top left-hand corner. I got $7,000 all from Apex. Three lots of 2,000, two 500s. Two pushes down to a new low. It's very tempting that it's off that bottom. Very tempting. It's got to push up really though. It is a channel break with two pushes to a new low. It has cleaned out any liquidity around here, I think. Perfect signal bar. Yeah, just I think when it comes back to this line, I think wait for the higher low just in case. It is bouncing there, but you know that could be down here. It could be up there. You still may be off the bottom of it. It's just hard to say, really. I think Dan's got his like that, which would mean it's a little bit off the bottom, but I'm trying to sort of fit somewhere in between. I don't think that looks bad. Fits with the top nice. But as we've had that perfect measured up right to the top, you don't know whether we're going to have a decent pullback. Dip into liquidity, yeah. It has cleared any of that out. It is congested anyway, isn't it, really? So it could do either or. I'm going to put that back there. So that's likely going to go, isn't it? Nothing worse than it's being slow. Ugh. So we have had a perfect measured move right up to there. So if this is a channel, we could well get a break. I wouldn't even be surprised if we end up having something like that. kind of fitting with that and that. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so no, my second payment was approved in 8 hours, I think, and paid 24 hours later. So they're paying quick at the moment and approving, much better than it used to be. When I first started trading with Apex, it took about, you could only put a payment in twice a month. I think it's got to be between up to the 15th or between the 1st and the 7th of the month for payment on the 15th, and then between the 15th. It was an absolute ball ache. It just took forever. Now, pretty much within 24 hours, 2 days maximum, I think. I waited, I think, 3 days, but that was over Christmas. But this time round, it was super quick. I had it. It was in less than 3 days. It was put in, approved, sent to Plane, and Plane sent it to my Revolut bank, and it was in. So, which that qualifies for payment for this month. So, target is the same next month or whatever I can. It'd be lovely to hit $100,000 this year. There's no reason why I can't if I play the game right. And that 7,000 was just based off 5 accounts. That's all. So I'm up to 11 at the moment. I'm going to stick there for a month and just, play the game. And that would be really nice. That would be a great sense of achievement. I know some people have had huge amounts of money. I know Alpine Traders had big money, but he won't make the same money now. He was trading. Obviously, you could get to $2,600 and take 2,000, and it didn't really matter how you got there. And he was trading without a stop. So, and he was prepared to lose the account, and he was kind of rinse and repeat. Well, in the real world, you can't trade like that. It was just kind of a loophole. That with Apex, you could kind of get away with it for a period of time. You can't blame the bloke for doing it, but now he's kind of got to play it right. He's a lot more sensible, and you're going to get a few denials. So, Mr. Balls, happy thanks, mate. I haven't checked in with YouTube for a while. I didn't know you were making money. I haven't made a lot, mate, but I am making some. I expect this year to be better. I've kind of dug myself out of that hole now, and I'm slowly moving up. But it ain't been easy. I mean, a lot of you guys have been in and out over the last 2 years. I've been streaming, and I got myself into all sorts of problems before. I'm a guru. I'm making money. Yeah, don't see me as a guru, will you? But I appreciate the sentiment. All I am is just like you guys. At some point, I know a lot of you are now. There's more experienced traders in here than me, a lot more, and there's less experienced traders than me. But there were times in my journey that I thought, "Am I going to be able to make this work?" Did I consider giving it up a couple of times? Yeah, it didn't last long though. It's like anything. It's easy to say I'm going to start a diet tomorrow when you've got a cheeseburger in your mouth. But come tomorrow, it don't work. So there was a couple of times where I considered it. But I was saying that more out of pure frustration when things go wrong, It doesn't half feel impossible to trade. Why did I blow that account? Why did I do that? You get yourself in all sorts of trouble. Long time, still haven't gotten the payout yet. It is tough, mate. Yeah. What I say is, I'll tell you one thing, whether you got it or not. But I use what has helped me, and a lot of people use is Guardian Angel Trader, which is a piece of software. I think it's about $399, and it's for Ninja Trader. And what it does is you can set certain parameters to stop you trading. So I have mine set for 1 loss a day. So if I take 1 loss, I can't trade. It won't let me. I can't even delete the software. So that's helped force me out of bad habits. But those emotions and that panic when things go wrong slowly fade. It's just bloody slow. But it does slowly go away and gets less and less, just like anything in life, you know, whatever you do. You know, I when I was sort of late teens, early 20s, my stepfather was in the military, and he was in the British parachute team. And I started doing a few parachute jumps. I didn't pay for them because I did them with them. And I remember the first time I jumped out of a plane, it was the oddest experience. And it's kind of weird. It plays on your mind for days after. It's an odd experience. But when you've been doing it a while, I mean, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than doing something like that, if anybody's ever done it. But the more you do it, the more it just becomes, you know, just like going down to the lake to fish. You know, those emotions in whatever you're doing, whether you're bungee jumping or boxing or any type of activity or sport or whatever that does trigger emotions, and obviously daring type, you know, so-called daring type sports like that, they certainly do. If you've never jumped out of a plane, do it. I guarantee there's a lot of emotions there. Most of mine was, how the hell can I get out of this without looking like a baby? But the more you do these things, the less they become a problem. That sooner or later they'll just become like your normal, you know, a normal everyday occurrence. Same with trading. Anything that flexes that emotional response. It does take time, but if you just continue to keep doing it, you will get used to it, and it'll get easier. What you tend to forget that's happening in the background is your skill levels increasing. And sooner or later, you get that kind of seesaw, and your skill levels down, you know, well, down here, your emotion levels up here, and sooner or later, that sort of upward sort of trajectory of strong emotions and crap skills start to tip in your favour. Emotions start to drop. Skills start, which you forget about. We're concentrating so much on the emotions because they take over, you know, so much of your mind, but that you forget your skill levels climbing. So sooner or later, that tips in your favour, and that's when things start to get better. And I've been through times where I felt depressed. And, you know, my wife said to me a couple of times, I dreaded you coming down, just quiet, miserable. And it's not nice when something like that affects your mood. Anytime, mate. Anytime. It's not an easy thing to learn. I think it's better if you have someone to do it with. I don't know what it is. I think markets have got harder lately. No, I haven't skydived 20 years, I don't think. But I did some in my younger years. Show you a photo. This was me on my 19th birthday, I think. Looking nice and confident just before I got shot out of a cannon. I was 19 or 20 there, I think. 19 or 20. Back in the day. Nothing you can do here going along, is there? I skydive every morning at daybreak before coffee. Gets me ready for training. I don't know if I'd have the nerve to do it again. In fact, I did a few years ago. I went to one of those wind tunnels in Manchester. I think it was my wife bought me for a birthday or something. That was a bit of fun. I don't know if I had the nerve. Mind you, I'll tell you what I would do is it's my dream to go to Dubai to live there, actually. I don't know whether that'll happen, but I would love to do a skydive over the desert or over the palm. I've watched a lot of that before. So yeah, I forgot the nerves. Well, I would if I went to Dubai. I would 100%. Well, I'd do a tandem. Knees, back, ankles, very common disabilities for military jumpers. No, I wasn't a military jumper. Well, I did a little bit of time in the reserves, but no, I didn't do a lot, to be fair. I got into the 50s or something, 50 jumps or something. But it was around about the time I lost my stepdad, so things changed. We were living in an army quarter at the time, so we had to sort of get out of that, and things changed. But I'm in pretty good shape. I've had a bit of cartilage out of a knee, but failing that, I'm in pretty good shape. There is a higher low there, but I don't know whether this is a channel or it's had a break, so I'm sitting tight here. This to me is just, it's a bit trappy, and it's a bit, we've kind of pushed through, and we're using this as resistance. So I'm just not getting involved here. Second entry long. Yeah, I wouldn't take a long here at the moment, purely and simply because it's struggling to get above this. So there's going to be longs in there, but I think that may get trapped. It's hard to say, really. So I've messed around with a channel like that and with a channel like that. I think, spiking channel, tighten your channel. Well, that's initially how I had it, like that. And then I kind of adjust it. So we've either got two legs and I adjust it, but I'm certainly not thinking about going long here, that's for certain. Yeah, EMA's holding, and we had some sort of resistance there, and it got through and used it as support, and we've kind of got both here, so it may turn out and go up, but it's too early to go long here. You know, that higher low there has triggered, so it may go up, but for me it's risky. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it could go either way, really. I mean, I got a couple of different channels. I've got this one with a break, so probably expect a new low, a new high, something larger here, may continue up. We have had a bounce. Tell a lie, I think I had that like that. There's a bit of a bounce there, so it's just a bit unclear here. With such a big move up, we could get a pull up to this level again and then down for another leg and then further on up. So at the moment, it's just a bit of a battle going on, but 1, 2, 3, you could say that's a triple testicle short. I wouldn't go short because prices generally are on the up, I think. So fell second entry short. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, Bud, but at the moment, I don't really want to trade anywhere around here at the moment. I mean, it looks like it may work, but I've been in trades like that before. They trigger and then come down, but just the fact that there's a lot of support there, and there is a possibility of a bigger channel, in which case second entry short maybe down. I don't know. I try and look at sort of all sorts of scenarios if I'm not sure. But that much we know. That's working nice, and we got a break. So my fear is that's going to come down. I hope I'm wrong. Oh, you're in, are you? Ooh, that's not looking good, mate. I hope it holds for you, buddy. But just purely make some money this year. It's been too long. Yeah. I think every year just gets better. Things change. So, you know, we've all heard that saying, stupidity or something like that is doing the same thing every day and expecting a different outcome. But your emotions, you may not do the same thing, but your emotions change and they don't have the same effect on you. Yeah, see what I mean? 1 minute looks like it's going up. I mean, I'd have been inclined to get out there, but you just don't know. It could go up, it could come down. When it's like this, who knows where it's going to go? But that's a relatively big bearish buy. You're going to have longs trap there, longs trap there. I would have guessed higher low failure, but it's just stacking up. So I don't know. It's a toss of a coin for me whether it goes up. But yeah, once it goes like this, it's time to get out, I think. I mean, it may work, but my gut feeling is if I took that long and that happened and came back, I would expect it's a matter of time before I get stopped out there. And if it hits that, it's probably going to hit that as well. So before I even considered a long, I'd want it below this area. So that's the one gone. I think the next, the other one will be next. It's still no reason for me to go short here, because if there is a bigger channel and we've had 2 legs down, sometimes it takes these little areas out and then turns. So I wouldn't want to go short there into possibly the bottom of a channel. So one more tick and that's gone. I'm pretty sure that'll go. Yeah, there we go. So if you went long there, or the higher low or the failure, I mean, really, the higher low I wouldn't take because you're going into support, and the failure, it's exactly the same. You're going into support. So, in fact, some have got a spike. Didn't you? Who said a spike and channel? Didn't you say a spike and channel? So, yeah, that's possible. I think the issue I have is going short when price has generally been going up. I know this may be temporary, but you know, we've had a break from this channel. I can't see whether we're not going to make a new high. It's hard to say at the moment. There's this. I know Dan's got this channel, so a spike and a channel there. I still would want to go short just in case. You took the second entry short, yeah. Well, actually, I would consider that more a triple test. The second entry's there, isn't it? Because you pull back a bit. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I just think I'm used to just not taking. At the moment, I'm expecting a retest of this, or maybe bounce here. So, hence leaving it. 1, 2. Yeah, I would sort of think of that as a triple test. Who else took that? 58. Yeah, so Dan at the moment has still got this as a channel break. It was holding that line and it pushed back up, but then it's hitting that flat spot then, isn't it? So I tried it. I had it like that, then maybe a spike. But he's got it as a spike. So things just change and develop based on what price is doing. So let's just take that down a fraction. Yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping we'd get something along kind of those lines. But I don't know. It's hard to say at the moment, isn't it? I don't think it's a spike. Your original one's now retested. Yeah, so I had it there. I've looked at that. In fact, I actually think that doesn't look too bad. Touch, and then we've had a good strong drop from there. So I actually think that might look too bad, but there is support and resistance along here, so we've hit that as well. And we know there was a high low and a short failure there, so there'd have been traders trapped there. So once it gets below there and below there, there's probably going to be some down here. But so it's hard to say really. I actually think that looks okay now. I wasn't sure at first, but then when it went up here and bounced, and then you can kind of eye the line then, can't you? It's I don't know, things are constantly on the change, aren't they? Here, so you took the second entry shot in golfing, lost and revenge. You're not rubbish, mate. You're doing what human beings do when things go wrong. You panic. Wow. What's going on? Something's happening. What's created that? My lag shot right up. There's no news, is there? What time is it? Whether that's sort of a couple of legs back, the only thing I can think of is there must have been stops, but it's still flickering around. So, what caused that then? Anybody else noticing that? Looking around. The only thing I can think of as it flicked down, it just cleared up some stops here and maybe picked up some buyers. I mean, that is pushing now, isn't it? I think so. Overshoots, maybe. Is it time to trap some shorts and push up? Sure, want to jump in. Yeah, you got to be careful doing that, haven't you? There is a short fella. There's going to be a ton of stops there, isn't there? It's very tempting that to go long there. It's going to be a stack of stops there, isn't there? Let's just sit back and have a look here. Wow, look at that. So you know what happened there, don't you? Pete went, oh, we're going up. Let's jump in here. Loads of stops there. All of a sudden, wharf down it comes. Okay, so let's just readjust. See if we can find out what's going on here. Like the fell second entry short if it occurs. Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe we get something and then all of a sudden that happens. So let's put it back there. So let's put it to there. So channel down break so far. Excuse me just a sec. Sorry about that. Right, let's have a look. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Let's just delete some stuff here and try and figure out what's going on. Let's just clear this up a bit. I can't figure out what's going on here. Channel down. 2 attempts to push up. Are we going down again? Sorry. Are we just hitting a bit of support here? All I know is there's going to be stops there, surely. How long did you get a payout? How long did you get a payout? What do you mean by how long did it take for the payout, or how long was it when I got my first? Not sure what you mean there, bud. You might have to just reiterate that one. Oh, how long ago? Sorry, my mistake. I didn't read it. I got $1,000 yesterday or this morning, and I got $6,000 over the last month. 3 lots of 2. I did bring them in. Whenever I get a payment, I bring in the email and show everyone, so you know. It's kind of nice to keep track of what's happening. So I may still have them, actually. Let me have a look. You're welcome, mate. You are welcome. I think I might have deleted them. These are there's the, what day is it today? Payout approved. Okay, those are the 2 approved ones. 500, and the other 500. But I had the message from Plane to say they'd sent it to my Revolut account. So leg and a leg. I'm not sure what's going on here. Where's my scotch? There we go. So the plan is now just to try and get something every month. See, last year was a bit sporadic. I got payouts of $22,000 last year, $8,000 the year before. So they're getting more consistent now. See, so I'm starting to learn that if I don't do stupid things, I get paid. 1, 2, 3. Is that a triple test? Do I really want to go short there? I'm not sure what's going on here. It is 2 legs up, but that bearish bar is above that EMA. Now we are finding support this area, but that to me is just a little tad risky. To get response and payout, my refresh button is taking an hour. I would give it. It took me. I did it about 10 o'clock at night. I checked my emails at 7 on, and I'd had one. So I think typically they say the next day. But if you may have broken a rule, I think that can take up to a couple of days. Now I had one. The 3 2000s I had, it said it took about 3 days. Whether that was because it was kind of around New Year, I'm not too sure, but this one was quick. It was overnight, and I had an email the following day. So literally less than 48 hours, they'd approved it and paid it. No, it's not at all. No, mine said under review. I think they do. So no, it's not, mate. Don't worry. So I'm going to adjust this a minute, because I would have said now, for me, I'm going to look at that as a channel and a new low. What I'd like to see is a little push up and another leg down. No, it does say that for some reason. When you first started trading to get a payout, it took me. It was when I first started streaming, it was exactly 2 years ago. So I'd have been trading Pats a year and a half, total trading from beginner 2 years. So it took me 2 years from being a complete novice to get my first payment. And it's a great feeling, but it was short-lived because the account got blown later that day. But I was watching, I don't know if you guys are aware of Cammy Trades. He's an Australian guy or New Zealand. He's from that area. And it's funny, he's been trading for 7 years and it took him 4 years till he started to get some payments, which is where I am now. And I don't know, I've heard a couple of people saying it took me about 4 years. So it seems to be that kind of range. Now, there are people who are bound to do it sooner, people who may be, absolutely focused in whatever they do. But I don't think it's from a lack of skill, although it does take time and you are getting better. But if you don't blow up when you take a loss, I think you'll get there in half the time. But, I think like most human beings, we're not really programmed from birth to be a trader, really, are we? We kind of, everything we do in life has some sort of emotional attachment, and it's not good as a trader, so it does take time to... and I think the only way, I've had advice from so many people: start hypnosis, do this, do that, journal. Nothing's worked. The only thing that's worked for me is exposure. If you expose yourself to those emotions for enough times on a daily basis, sooner or later they'll start to become normal. I used to get to my desk and start trading, and my adrenaline was flowing, my heart was pounding, I was getting dry in the mouth, I was excited, nervous. And you're running on pure emotion and adrenaline. Now it's like I turn up to work every day and I just sit here and I do my stuff and I go away and not think too much about it. But it's taken a long time to get to that, that level where I just see it is work now, and it's not like something new, something exciting, something frustrating, something that makes you angry, all those, bottled up emotions and excitements and things. And, you go through all sorts of sheer from, everything being a great day to the following day being sheer frustration and panic. But if you just stick at it, just make sure you keep those purse strings tight. You can get through loads of money, so just be really careful of that. That's just pushed up there. Be really careful of how much you're spending, because it just makes the journey a lot more painful if you're chucking money away. And then sooner or later, those emotions will start to not bother you. It's not emotions so much as wanting to solve the market, solve the strategy. I don't like black and white so much. Biggest problem, I think some of us, I've talked to some people that saying, they still get trapped all the time, but they got the greatest emotions. I don't get trapped as much. I think my skill level's okay. My patience is good. My discipline's pretty good. But I still find it hard to take a loss sometimes. So, which is why I implemented that guardian angel. It's kind of the last piece of the puzzle. But I had a loss yesterday. Not a huge one. I was down about just over $200. Well, I'd forgotten all about it now. And if you walk away and you try and kind of embrace it and just think it's just part of it, it's fine. And then you start to forget about it. And then, a day or so later, you've forgotten it's even happened. And that's kind of the last piece of the puzzle. So that having that guardian angel trader is enabling me to do it, because it's taking that decision-making process away from me. I don't have a choice. I can't trade. And what that is doing is forcing me to accept it and to get out the habit. But, taking sort of impatient trades, whenever I was impatient, it used to frustrate me because I was like it, and that's when I used to blow up. You're outstanding at patience. Yeah, patience is good for me at the moment. But occasionally, what I've found, I got the patience of a saint. Up to Christmas, I had 10 winning trades in a row, and then I lost a trade and then lost another one. And then I seem to have that urge to just jump in. And so for the most, it's gone, but it still comes back just once in a while a little bit. So what I'm trying to do the next time I take a loss, which was yesterday actually, is just really try and focus. And I've come back today and I haven't taken a trade. And I've said that next time I take a trade, I want it to be a solid setup because I kind of want to jump back into that top level of patience, because I think sometimes when you've had a loss, you can slip a little bit. And that patience gives in and you take something a bit risky. And if that leads to a second loss, then you start to think, shit, what am I doing? What's happened? You know what I mean? I purchased my eval in May the 17th. I bought 22 to date. I have 4 PAs and blew up 2. I have 2 activated. First payment. That's good, that is, mate. That's good, that is. I think that's a strange big part of it. I think it helps to have the option to be able to talk to other people. Because I used to sit sometimes in the evening and think, why does this just happen to me? Why is it me? Why am I struggling? And what I found is a lot of times people will post charts, but they'll only post the winners. So it's very easy to start thinking, why is everyone else making winning trades and I'm struggling? And then once you actually start engaging with people open up then. And I was chatting on Nutty's channel a couple of months ago, and I said I'd done about 700 evaluations thinking I was going to get crucified, and I had loads of people going, is that it? I know Nutty had taken more than me. I know there was some guy who'd been doing it a couple of years and he'd blown over 1,200. So I find listening to you, Nutty and Alpine, and it does, mate, because you start to realise that it's not you. It's kind of how we're programmed, as youngsters. We're programmed that it's my TV, it's my car, it's my bike. If you take it away from me, I want it back. We don't like losing things. We don't like giving things up, especially money. But, I think when you start to realise that it's emotions, is not your fault. You're just doing what comes natural, and it does take time. And I've found, no matter what books I've read, no matter what hypnosis, I used to go to bed listening to all sorts of weird and wonderful hypnosis things, and nothing worked at all. But I never really had anybody say that the most obvious thing that came to my mind: exposure. You need to just keep having that exposure, and sooner or later those emotions will slowly start to subside. You enjoy Nutty? I like Nutty. He's a nice lad. Nutty is I'm also now seeing a lot of people playing different strategies. Yeah, there's so many different strategies out there, and in a way they kind of all work. You can sit here. Once you sit here enough, you'll start to notice certain things, and that's how strategists really come about. There's so many different ways to trade the market. I started noticing things maybe 6 months ago. Whenever we have these type of what I call double width channels, this type of thing. That is what I call a single width channel. You can see that. That's a double width channel. Now, whenever we get a bar the opposite direction, so we're coming down, we get a bullish bar finishing on its highs or close to its highs. If you short that, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, right at the close, it comes up 0.5 point and comes down 2 points, you've made your profit. And I see that all the time. Same again there. There's one going up there. Now, you can see that. Once it gets to there, to me, and continues up, it's a little channel. And then what happens? We get a bearish bar finishing close to its low. If you buy it at the close, it comes down a couple of ticks, goes up 2 points. 2-point risk, 2-point profit. There's 2 in a row. Would I do that one? Probably not. There's nothing there. No, well, not what I would consider major bullish there. There's one there. So that is a channel that's fitting nice, yeah. So with there, touch there, what happens? We get a bearish bar finishing on its low. You click a buy option, 2-point risk, 2-point profit. It's in again. You'd be amazed how many times that works. Same again, sort of there. There's one there. Bullish bar comes down. Bullish bar comes down. It is surprising. Sometimes you can get caught out. Same again. Up there. Bearish bar. What happens? Straight up. So if you sit here long enough, you'll start to notice things. And that's all strategies are, really. Just people sitting there seeing things. And it's just ideas. As we know, strategies are just a place, a title that we call where we get in and where we get out and take profits. But if you sit there long enough, you'll find stuff. So it's not really the strategy. There's so many ways to make the market. It's not difficult to spot these. It's having the discipline to wait for them and having that strength of mind if they go wrong, just to calm straight back down and carry on. And it's near damn impossible when you first start. So you trade that PA while waiting for a payment. I traded account and Apex, so near payout. Excuse me. You can do, yeah. But if you lose a trade before it's been confirmed and you lose some of that money, they'll deny it. So it's up to you, bud. If you're not bothered whether you get the payment and you just want to keep the trade, then keep trading it. But keep trading it. But there's no harm in not trading that particular account if you want the payment. So so don't worry about that. That's so true. I've been doing this for 4.5 years, and emotions is just now starting to not be. Absolutely, it's impossible to do something that gets your emotions going every single day and to have that same level of emotion. It's impossible. I used to just sort of, when I was a young lad, I was about 14, 15, my stepdad sent me to boxing classes. And I was there for 3 months, running around in circles, eating bags, doing this. And I remember the first time, I still remember it, that I got asked to go into a ring with another lad. I was okay when I got in there. As soon as I got out, I shit myself, and you panic and you start swinging like crazy, and it's all a big blur. And we've all been in punch-ups in our life. And you're not thinking what you're doing, you're just swinging, aren't you? So why can a guy can go into a ring and properly box, pull his punches, control his emotions? The only way you do it is to get into that ring 3-4 times a week, however long you do it for, and continue to do it. And sooner or later, the emotions calm down. You don't panic, and you can think about what you're doing. And it's the same with anything you do where there's lots of emotions. It takes time. Yeah, but Nathaniel, how you doing, buddy? You're a new face. It does calm down in time, but you have to give it time, and it's that change in the mind is not as obvious as the change would be in the body if you started going to a gym. You start losing weight, you start to go to a gym, you can physically see those changes, but in your mind, it's not that simple. You can't see the changes. Well, you can, but it happens a lot slower. The brain's kind of like a muscle, and it can be trained, same as a body, but it just takes time. That's all it is. But I've read so many books and seen so many videos, and I've never heard anybody explain it, that it just takes time. There's always a reason for it, and there's always a way to combat it. And I've never found one. I tried something similar a while back. Blind limit order can be good. Got a PA. Yeah, it's surprising. It's not difficult. And I think that's why Mac doesn't show us his trades, because he does things outside the box. And if he took trades out of his kind of teachings, he would get a million emails. Why did you take that? That wasn't Pat's trade. But, if you sit here long enough, you start to notice things. And you'll notice when traps are occurring and you'll stay out of them. And there's no reason why you can't say, I know what's happening here. This is going to go down. And I was convinced it was. So I could have shorted there, really, but because I'm thinking up that I left it. But at some point in time, you may decide I'll jump in and grab a point here or something. So you do notice things. The markets work a certain way because human beings either trade them or program them. But it does take time, way more time than I thought. My issues holding my trades. I moved to break even too early. Yeah, who was I watching doing that the other day? Who was it? It was Sam, I think, 5 trader. He did it twice in one session. It came down, it kept flickering back, and he brought it down to, I think, break even +1, and it triggered him out and came doing that. And I think he did it twice. Trouble is, when you get into a trade, as soon as the market starts to move in your favour, you have that kind of relief until it starts to come back a bit, and then you start to think, should I get out? But my experience is, and I do that from time to time, but my experience is if it's a good enough setup, you'll make more money leaving it to go for your full amount. A lot of the times I've got out early because I think I should, or I don't like it coming back, and it goes on to get the full 3 points. So yeah, at some point you'll get to a point where you'll just let it go and you'll just forget it. But trade, there's so many different failures in trading. It's excuse me a sec. You fail so many times in trading. It's very hard to believe and give you the confidence that you're going to be able to do it. It's very hard to believe in yourself when you've blown 700 evaluations. You in any other walk of life, you wouldn't fail that many times before you learned your lesson. But those two instead of yeah. If you've ever sat down and done the numbers and gone through your trades and said, okay, if I took, I did it a few months ago. If I took 6 ticks, 2 points or 3 points on all of my trades, where would I be financially? And it was an absolute resounding. Although there was a couple of extra losses going for 3 points, overall I was about, over the space of a couple of months, something like that, I was about $1,100 better off than I would have been. And now that's going for it and calculating the full 3 points. If you come out early, that calculation changes. So you really, if you go through the numbers and decide to go for a certain points, you have to let every trade go for the full amount. Now, granted, if you take a long gear and it starts going sideways and it would have stopped you out, there is a time to think, let's just get out, and you can scratch that one and forget the numbers. But ordinarily, if you let it go, you'll be better off. It's weird. I was watching a guy the other day, and he said whenever it comes towards your stop, a lot of the times you give it more room. So in other words, you increase your risk. Whenever price moves towards your profit, you're bringing your stop and getting out early. So you're increasing your risk of losing more money with moving your stop. But when it comes to your profit and it's going in the right direction, you're trying to get out early. So it's kind of, when you think about it, it actually doesn't make sense, does it? Respect adaptive trend finder is a good use indicator. Follow you long time. Good job. Thanks. I appreciate that. Adaptive trend finder. Excuse me. Do you know what I find? Some of the barking. I actually take more trades, trading ranges, although I used to hate it when the market ranged, but I actually find sometimes, from a Pat's point of view, there's less opportunities when the price is going like that than if it's bouncing between the top and bottom. Because every time it goes up, you're looking to short. Every time it comes down, you're looking to go long. But up here, you're only looking for longs, and if you don't get a setup, sometimes you just pass my 150th eval by 42 cents. Good for you, mate. I know it. It's moving that profit, isn't it? Just so you get the right amount of money, and you've got to take into consideration. I've done that before. Added the money and forgot if I'm trading 10 contracts, it's $75 worth of fees. Good on you, mate. The good thing about those bigger, you've got a bigger drawdown, so you can kind of relax a bit more. This market is moving so slow. I'm assuming it's around lunchtime, isn't it? I think at the moment this is more likely ranging, because if that's a channel, we've had a break, and I'm yet to see a channel that big that has such a small break and pushes straight up. So, see if anybody else has got anything like that. Yeah, it's not the easiest to read today, is it? NQ, no, ES bud. I traded some overnight, trading some micros. Excuse me a sec, sorry. Sorry about that. I was saying, so sorry, it's all right. I was just looking to see what people had. I took one of my trades up. Where is it? Where's that gone? I marked it. Triple test there. That was one of them. Triple test, second entry short. And I took bits. I was just practicing stuff on micros. Hence, they're all at different levels. Sorry, it's all right. I was looking for no, I didn't trade any on the NQ. I tend to save those for evaluations. You don't know, it doesn't have to move as far. I have a trend up. I'm hoping it's right. But yeah, it's congestion. So I'll tell you what. I wonder, is that better? Do you know what? I actually like that. I'm not sure about that. Let's just add a little bit of colour there. What do you guys think of that? Touch, bounce, touch, touch, touch. It's hard to say. So look. It's hard to say, really. Just interested to see if anyone's liking the look at that. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new low, bounce, bounce, and up. Extend the bottom down to the low of the day. We're here, aren't we? Trouble is, if I do that, what does the top look like? It's a little bit over the top there. Yeah, wider one looks decent. Yeah, there's not a lot of difference. I went from that kind of spike. Just trying to think of, do you really see channels like that often? But I won't say it's impossible, but probably not likely. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just don't like all that big gap. So my gut feeling really, is think about the smaller stuff, because something's not right. I think we're likely to get to these highs anyway. So there is a failed. There's a failed second entry long there. Is there anything wider? Yeah, not sure about this. See, if it's like that, there is a possible overshoot. That's what you got. Yeah. I think you have to pay attention to that. Not the easiest days today. It's very tight and very... I mean, look at all that chop. We push up, chop, chop. A lot of chop. When it is like that, can mess you up a bit. How long have we been going for? I can only trade for about another 10 minutes anyway before my thing gets locked out, so that's fine. So I'm checking. No, it's okay, but don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's just so slow, isn't it? Wade warning recently about taking a second lecture long after an overshoot. Yeah, generally if you have an overshoot, I always avoid the next second entry or whatever offer it is, because a lot of times it will trigger you then come down. So if we extend it, I mean, is it working along the midline? It may be, but I think sometimes it's best to just, if you think you've had an overshoot, just assume you have. Do you ever use tick to find trends, Volt or tectonic? No. See, trading price action and only going for 3 points, I just tend to follow the price. So, you know, if we're pushing up there and it's fitting, it's confirmed 3 times, I'm looking for a long, and kind of vice versa. So, you know, what I trade, Pats, is pretty straightforward, obviously, you know, context allowing, but we just follow these small channels. Obviously, the thought process being, every time we get into a channel, usually when we have a break of it, we make a new extreme, either high in this case. Same with that one, channel up, break new high, channel down, break new low. And we kind of follow it like that, channel up, break new high, channel down, break new low. That's kind of how it works. And it's kind of trying to find something that fits into that line. So, no, I mean, the only indicator I really use is this EMA. The rest are just a series of lines on a chart, really. So it's about as simple. Let's not call it simple. Let's call it, it's about less technical as you can get, really. And when you get used to reading this price action, it's so damn accurate. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that looks like an overshoot. Maybe overshoot, an overshoot. Maybe a spike in a channel. So I'm going to finish in a few seconds anyway. It's coming up to 6 o'clock. I've been here for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Just been one of those days today. Just not a lot. There's only one I would have taken, possibly two. Trouble is, I like that now, and that I like, but at the time, when you're looking at something like that, it's hard to say sometimes. You've got to think quick. And you haven't always got a lot of time, but I like that, and that I like as well. That's trapping some longs without a doubt, and then but just by what it did straight down. Hold is volume up and down. I've tried a few things. I've tried volume profile, not that I really understand it, and the what's it called? Fib. I use a fib tool once in a while just to check where a pullback might come to, and what's the other one as well? VWAP. I've played around with those really, but I'm used to time-based charts. Yeah. The thing I like about the 2000 tick chart, just quickly before I move, if you look at all the bars on the 2000 tick chart, they're all very, very similar size. So I find it's easier to manage risk, whereas if I go over to the 2 minutes, they're so different in size. They're not too bad today, but usually you got little tiny ones and then you got great big ones, and I find it's a lot harder to manage risk. I think, some of these bars are huge, some of them are tiny. Whereas on the 2000 tick, tick chart, they do seem to balance out a little bit more. They're a lot more even sized. Let's just get rid of that a minute. Try the 30-second NQ, pure chaos. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just, you sound like you're asking for trouble there. But yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes some people like chaos in their life. Usually they're married, I think. Yeah, I've tried. I haven't really tried. See, when I first started to learn to trade, I did currency for 6 months. We used, I think, as low as the 15. I think we used the 15, the hourly, and the 4 hourly. And I played around. Like, I've been doing this every day now for the last 3.5 years plus. And this is kind of all I know now. You get that focused on just trading this one chart, this one way. And, I get used to knowing how it moves. And I find it easy to manage risk as well. So look at that. So we got that spike and channel and a break. I haven't got much time left. How long we got? 9 minutes. Not that I want to rush it. What does that look like? It's hard to say. It's still a bit of an overshoot. I could extend it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like this. And all of a sudden we push up now and then that thing drops. So I think it's better to assume we've had assume there's been a break. Channel down with a break. I'd expect this channel, now we've had a break of it, to make a new low and possibly have trapped some longs. I can't see any longs that may have jumped in there. That possibly. But it's getting very wicky, isn't it? It's not the easiest day to trade today. Sometimes at a quick glance it looks easy, but when you sort of zoom in, there's a lot of this just chopping around, and my experience is trading a lot of chop equals lots of losses. There's a lot of it, isn't there? And then we push up bit more, bit more, bit more. So I think I'm done for the day, folks. So this week, what am I up this week? 4, 5, 6, 7, down 2. I think I'm up about $450, $500 per account. A little bit more on some accounts. So, if you ask me what would be the ideal scenario, it would be $500 per account per week. That would get close to $2,000. Well, a little bit more. But even if I can get $1,000 payment from each account per month, I'm more than happy with that. Nice. Yeah, you too, buddy. So that's it for the week. It's not been a bad week. It's all right, mate. I've enjoyed the chat. Sometimes when it's like this, just for your own insanity, it's good to have a little bit of a chin wag, isn't it? So I will leave you guys there. So if you are carrying on, and 11 healthy PAs, yeah, touch wood, mate, touch wood. Long may they stay like that. So have a great weekend, guys. If you're carrying on trading, good luck. Failing that, we'll be back on Monday. So have a great weekend. Stay safe, and then we'll do all again next week. Bye for now.